Welcome to the Instagram stories for Saturday, November 25th. I'm your host, Daniel Hill, and this is the weekend edition of the Instagram stories. One thing that I really like to do, and I talk about this frequently, is give the heads of social media platforms as much audio space on this show as I possibly can. I don't have a ton from Shou Chew, the CEO of TikTok. However, he did do a TED Talk earlier this year where he shares a lot of interesting information about TikTok. One point that I want to talk about specifically is how TikTok is not necessarily designed to keep you on the platform as much as possible. Well, it is to a certain extent, but the CEO, Shou Chew, has an interesting take on how TikTok is designed differently from other apps when it comes to time you spend on the platform. Here's the clip.
As a company, our goal is not to optimize and maximize time spent. It is not. In fact, in order to address people spending too much time on our platform, we have done a number of things. I was just speaking with some of your colleagues backstage. One of them told me, she has encountered this as well. If you spend too much time on our platform, we will proactively send you videos to tell you to get off the platform. We will. And depending on the time of the day, if it's late at night, it will come sooner. We have also built in tools to limit, if you're below 18 years old, by default, we set a 60-minute default time limit.
How many?
60 minutes.
60.
And we've given parents tools, and yourself tools. If you go to settings, you can set your own time limit. We've given parents tools so that you can pair, if for the parents who don't know this, go to settings, family pairing. You can pair your phone with your teenager's phone and set the time limit. And we really encourage parents to have these conversations with their teenagers on what is the right amount of screen time. I think that's a healthy relationship that you should have with your screen. And as a business, we believe that that balance needs to be met. So it's not true that we just want to maximize time spent.
Yeah. If you were advising parents here what time they should actually recommend to their teenagers, what do you think is the right setting?
Well, 60 minutes, we did not come up with it ourselves. So I went to the digital wellness lab at the Boston Children's Hospital, and we had this conversation with them. And 60 minutes was the recommendation that they gave to us, which is why we built this into the app. Now, so 60 minutes, take it for what it is. It's something that, we've had some discussions with experts. But I think for all parents here, it is very important to have these conversations with your teenage children and, help them develop a healthy relationship with screens. I think we live in an age where it's completely inevitable that we're going to interact with screens and, digital content. But I think we should develop healthy habits early on in life. And that's something I would encourage.
I'm curious to ask the audience which of you here have ever had that video on TikTok appear saying, come off?
You see, over there.
I mean, okay, so maybe a third of the audience seem to be active TikTok users and about 20 people maybe put their hands up there. So are you sure that, it feels to me like this is a great thing to have, but isn't there always going to be a temptation in any given quarter or whatever to just push it a bit at the boundary and just dial back a bit on that so that you can hit revenue goals, et cetera, et cetera? Are you saying that this is used scrupulously?
I think, in terms, even if you think about it from a commercial point of view, it is always best when your customers have a very healthy relationship with your product. It's always best when it's healthy. So if you think about very short-term retention, maybe. But I don't think that's not the way we think about it. If you think about it from a longer-term perspective, what you really want to have is a healthy relationship. You don't want people to be, to develop very unhealthy habits, and then at some point they're going to drop it.
Right.
So I think everything in moderation.
I wanted to play that clip because although I have spent what I would say is considerable amount of time on TikTok, I typically do it in short bursts, but I've never seen the message he's talking about where they're showing videos advising me to not use TikTok anymore and to take a break. I guess personally, I haven't stayed on the platform long enough to see those, although it feels like I have. We are going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to hear the CEO of TikTok, Shou Chew, talk about how TikTok prevents teenagers from doing dangerous challenges on TikTok. So stick around. And we're back. This is the CEO of TikTok, Shou Chew, on a recent TED Talk where he was interviewed. And here's the part of the clip where he talks about how TikTok prevents dangerous challenges from being featured on TikTok.
So dangerous challenges are not allowed on our platform. If you look at our guidelines, it's violative. We proactively invest resources to identify them, and remove them from our platform. In fact, if you search for dangerous challenges on our platform today, we will redirect you to a safety resource page. And we actually worked with some creators as well to come up with campaigns. This is another campaign. It's the Stop, Think, Decide Before You Act campaign, where we work with the creators to produce videos to explain to people that some of the things are dangerous, please don't do it. And we post those videos actively on our platform as well.
That's cool. And you've got lots of employees. I mean, how many employees do you have who are specifically looking at these content moderation things? Or is that the wrong question? Are they mostly identified by AI initially, and then you have a group who are overseeing and making the final decision?
The group is based in Ireland, and it's a lot of people. It's tens of thousands of people.
Tens of thousands?
Tens of thousands. It's one of the most important cost items of my P&L, and I think it's completely worth it. Now, most of the moderation has to be done by machines. The machines are good, they're quite good, but they're not as good as, they're not perfect at this point. So you have to complement them with a lot of human beings today. And I think, by the way, a lot of the progress in AI in general is making that kind of content moderation capabilities a lot better. So we're going to get more precise, we're going to get more specific, and it's going to get, it's going to be able to handle larger scale. And that's something I think, that I'm personally looking forward to.
What about this?
I personally really liked hearing what TikTok does to prevent people from doing dangerous challenges in order to keep especially teens safe on the platform. I am always looking for more audio clips from Shochu. If you come across any good ones, please send them to me so I can play them on the show. Or if you can get me in touch with Shochu, that would be even better. So that's on my list. That is going to do it for today's episode. On Mondays, we talk about what the head of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, shared on his Ask Me Anything. So be sure to come back on Monday for the next episode. As always, thank you so much for listening.
Instagram news got you covered, sometimes even TikTok. Relevant platforms in the metaverse ahead of the wave, without a break or a pit stop. Still waiting for Zuckerberg to give me the big job. Pause. Use trademarks and logos with Insta's permission, of course. If you like the show and you gain some good info, maybe leave a review. It's a type of applause. Just drop me a message if you want to collab. If you got some good content or you want to run ads, at Daniel Hill Media is where I am. TikTok, Facebook and Instagram.